Всем привет, с вами Леон Геймеру. Сегодня мы продолжаем играть диско Elysium.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. You don't really know, do you? South, maybe. Doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or... You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimpled lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was painted, maybe. The door does not budge.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads?
The winch, outside, in the backyard. Remember? No? Your fingers do.
Well, if there was a winch, I suppose we could look into it. As a side...
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
It's hardly worth a title. Anyway, Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
You see a heavy steel...
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just that... Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes?
see a heavy steel door with The door is closed. This door can only be opened with a key or from the inside. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives. Still. The lieutenant gives. Still. The lieutenant. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives you a.
waved a gun like a clan. Next time you point that
Her knuckles have turned white, holding on to that fence. She's been here for days, seething.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me in. I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
Stay away from me, pig. You don't want to see what happens when you... I'll die before I squeal, pig. What's this kid shit? Fucking mind games. I'd rather die than squeal.
Get the fuck out of...
So it's a girl. Interesting.
I'll die before I squeal. Murder was the case they gave me. I'll die before I squeal, pig. You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not here, pig. You're not seeing...
You can still see the top of her hat from behind the fence.
I'll die before I squeal.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Muindi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Epui Descent, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea. You must have me confused with the Copperpedia. You, sir, you are the Copperpedia.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes. That's right.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first.
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box,
KK5...
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
And what would that make?
HDB 41, 0, 10, 15. It's understated.
Good. Let's go with that. NA. Next. NA. Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish. The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the
HDB 41 0803.1015 listens motionless with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
none, at least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem. They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dockwalkers.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then,
We should start the post-mortem.
the corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color, yellow. Length, 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other, well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters, generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet. The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to the latex of the glove. There must be brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil. More hair sticks to the glove. Hair off the rain-soaked head of a dead man. There are bumps and dips on the skull below. An alien landscape. For a fraction of a second you feel something. An irregularity. But then it's gone. Too minute to register in your mind. What was what? Brilliantine. There's brilliantine in his hair. More hair sticks to the glove. Hair off the rain-soaked head of a dead man. There are bumps and dips on the skull. For a fraction of a second you feel something. An irregularity. But then it's gone. Too minute to register in your mind.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters. The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully.
See? My pig is gonna fuck.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there. Steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better...
Минуту, сейчас кота пущу.
Then a really, really bad smell is coming from there now. And
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck that faggot.
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
he sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark.
Here. The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact. Genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen!
I fucking knew it.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about... Last item. Hands.
The hand feels heavy, filled with decay liquids, like it's ready to explode if squeezed hard enough. You're suddenly...
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, the stench is making it hard for... Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his... You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Hepato means liver, and biliary, the gallbladder and bile ducts.
Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No. Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Oh, so we inflicted them? You mean the incision on the thorax from a chain cutter? That was not a team effort, and I wouldn't mention it. Muddies the water.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fuck.
Has confessed to causing it at maximum
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured. The cervix. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side, the ring around his neck. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional. I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder, in the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer. A motherfucker. Go ahead, Cobbo. What do you mean? It's the power of your Go ahead. Ask because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Here you go, you loony. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. No, you're not a Harry either. You're a motherfucker. That because you have. Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
No, not quite. Be fair now. There you go. Look at that bright kid. We're birds of a feather, you and I. Soon you will be just like me.
Feeling nausea, vomiting, tenderness or pain around the liver area, tiny red lines on the skin above waist level, more like days, Coppo. The clock is ticking. Your liver tells you.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
Okay. I need a little help for carrying him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can take care of the rest.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. You will never own the full set now. May they rest in processing. Oh well, in another...
It's too late to take him into processing today. I'll take him first thing tomorrow. We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the streets. We'll figure something out.
can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Good luck trying to use it.
Draconian measures.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat.
I confiscated this for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here. I think it's called Roy's Nest or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comfortable.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi...
very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy. Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar. A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjälmdalaman saga is an integral part of our Most people don't think that the man from Hjälmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjälmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the story...
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjälmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky.
It's for the best, because Hjälmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I suppose that makes sense, yes. Please go ahead and take it.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor This would make quite a statement.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
$700 real. A bargain, I dare say. The light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small, has a price tag.
The light has been removed and rewired. That's 2 transformations. But what about the 3rd?
The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few...
Okay, that checks out. The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welshie W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel formats. 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. If police work means playing tapes, sure. You can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech. Found sounds and music from a variety of genres.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
The stuff I record myself. Silverware shaking in drawers as motor cars race by. Nocturnal animals climbing on the roof. Airship rotors.
Maybe you should ditch music as well. Get into these more experimental sounds he's describing. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian night.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the...
I used to be...
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with...
Which ones? Ah, royalist soldiers from the time of the Revolution. The uniforms are painted a bit too brightly.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and talk.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Привет, Моника. Лайк поставь, пожалуйста. Не знаю, пока не хочу. Так а чё в них играть? Я ж все сделал. А с Симсами я сидел, ты, я и иногда Слава приходила, все. Ну, иногда какие-то девушки одноразовые приходили и уходили. Симсы скучный, там одно и то же. Здесь я детектив, расследую убийство.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the...
Игры. Resident Evil. Callisto Protocol. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 6, Callisto Protocol, Resident Evil 2 ремейк, Resident Evil 3 ремейк, Котик, Стеринг, или как он? Рейдж, про кота, Киберпанк, Моника, игра есть такая. Правду говорю, аж чихнул. Сейчас покажу. Days Gone, Daylight, Black Mesa, Among Us, Fall Guys, Horizon 4, GTA, Halo, Master Chief, Mafia, Definitive Edition, Mortal 11, так, Resident, я говорил, Resident Village, Rago Company, Serious Sam, Soulstone, Survivor, Stray, Черепашки Ниндзя, Последний Shredder, Revenge, Tetris, Effect, The Mass, Moonstein, Liquid, Day, V-Rising, Vampire Survivors, все, что есть. Все, конец.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
А у тебя в Стиме сколько игр? 2, 5. Еще есть в этом. В Epic Games штук 30, наверное. Но я их не помню. Я там играл только Borderlands 3, Hitman 3, по-моему. Одна в Стиме, нифига себе. У меня игр 60. Ты не игроман. Ты не геймер. Я не хочу, это овца-сатанист. Как мне понравится? Мне все время игры советуют странные. То раньше слизи, то культ овцы сатаниста. Нет, просто мне лень играть и тратить деньги. То есть ты богатая, у тебя много денег, а мне ни разу даже 10 рублей не задонатила. Или какой у меня там порог? 40 рублей, 30 рублей. Помню. Donation, какой у меня порог? Сейчас проверю. Если у меня ссылка активная есть. Сейчас проверю. 40 рублей у меня порог. Донат. Надо 30 рублей. Хотя булка хлеба стоит 35 плюс комиссия. 40 это минимум, чтобы хлеба поесть. И симулятор смайлов обязательно покупай первую часть. А чё, вторая часть хуже? Лично у меня никакой неприятности не было. Ну, железяка сейчас не дождешься.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a... As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from.
Ничего не понял. Симулятор слизь раньше. Первая часть 415 рублей стоит. А вторая сколько стоит?
It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street.
Как только ты мне задонатишь на Slim раньше, так сразу я начну в нее играть. А тратить деньги на Slim раньше что-то неохота. Ну, а я не могу покупать Slim раньше. Я хочу купить Dead Space, а она 4000 стоит. Я на нее деньги собираю. Конфеты не ем. Чипсы не покупаю. Газировку не пью. Экономлю. Пиво не пью. Только собираю на Dead Space ремейк. За 4... Сколько он стоит? Там 4500, наверное. 4300. Как задонатишь, так куплю, а так мне есть куда деньги потратить. Им раньше не мечта моя. А вот Dead Space Remake я поиграл в ужастик с крутой графикой. Пока.
A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them. Prolodon is just something you know, since the People's Power disaster. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called construction, began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried. So much disappointment, and early deaths, cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the...
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me, so I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forberg as I can. Still in the same city, but... I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a mesk banger? No matter.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real.
Thank you. Here's the 100 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spin.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
If you say so. Here you go, man. Of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad.
He doesn't know anything.
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. What should I have for it? No, just people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we?
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy. Truth be told, she was
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? It's possible in these parts of town. We ought to find her and discourage her from taking justice into her own hands.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off the charts photon emissions, the unhealthy kind. My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where...
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everard wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of...
Wait, then it might be true. Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Of course. Hello, hello. Sure thing. Sure, man. Sure thing. Sure, man.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear as nothing happens. The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? You pull the lever all the way up until the metal click. Nothing happens. The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on...
Can I help you? Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly... The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you? Another thing. Great. Yes?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit, below it all.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough, and we have solid leads to follow up on. Then you shot the body down, which was quite a shot. I admit I wasn't sure whether I should give you the gun, but I'm glad I did. Your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we missed something, but it's up to the boys in processing now. We did perform a thorough search of the crime scene. That's great. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. Very important indeed. Well, we conducted an interview with Evra. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
He's not saying much on the matter because he thinks you could have gotten more out of Everard.
Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. Moving on, we didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green, goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Rebachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly. by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what...
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Do you? In fact, we would need them even if you didn't think that way. We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too, but I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours.
The option to go to sleep becomes available every night after 9 p.m.
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate, a bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry? Answer the... Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Oh no, Funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. No, it's gone. 3 times gone and now you found Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Islas. On the surface. The outer You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do. Even in you'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like you're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin...
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hand. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely the time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get... You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face. The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you just might be able to twist its parts. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet regains a recognizable shape. It's told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. Still not happening. It won't come off that easy. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting. But it's yours. You've earned it. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hazy, but you see the ocean and some war-torn buildings. The morning light hurts your eyes. The fan stands still. The door is closed. This door can still nothing, 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 still nothing.
Morning. I've got some good news. I took care of the body. The thought of him decomposing in my MC wouldn't let me sleep. I'm just glad he's gone. We have other matters to attend to.
Oh well, we'll get the armored boots in another lifetime. The lieutenant is downplaying his contribution. He got up before sunrise to get this done, and now he's quite pleased with himself for taking care of the gruesome business. So
The Union muscle finally turned up, and they look rowdy. We need to talk to them. Everything points to the Dock Workers Union. The belt used for hanging him, tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the man. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own, but aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Mazovian Socio-Economics. 0.000% of communism has been built. Evil child-murdering billionaires still rule the world with a shit-eating grin. All he has managed to do is make himself sad. He is starting to suspect Krasmezov fucked him over, personally, with his socio-economic theory. It has, however, made him into a very smart boy with something like a university degree in truth. Instead of building communism, he now builds a precise model of
Just a moment. And there's no public phones nearby?
She's agitated and keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague? This is something to look into later.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi, may I ask what you needed to use the phone for?
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. Oh, forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Lena. My husband and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
that's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always... But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extreme... But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday.
The waterlock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my. What happened to the waterlock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I didn't...
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animals. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless. And frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are...
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline. But you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. We hit it off and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insect.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian, hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with...
It's not made up, officer. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at... Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eye.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Centuries, even. Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Surely things can't be that bad. You know where we are, right? That's right. In a hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. Yes. And, oh my, I haven't... Speaking of him, that's what...
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there. But now...
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What rate? No, sadly...
Meaning?
Oh, dear.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are...
You were doing...
A sigh.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes. A defeat, I'm afraid. It has something to do... You were doing...
A sigh.
But maybe a fresh set of someone more...
No. I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either.
Of course. Then, I don't know, someone rich maybe. But thank you, sweetie. You did make me forget about my worries for a while.
You're an enthusiastic idiot, but you're still an idiot.
We don't have time for cryptozoology.
Пять минут перерыв.
thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only word, okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Quebec. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something. His left hand drawing arcs. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. You see a heavy steel door. The door does not budge.
Over here. Over here. Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you forgot.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not...
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. What are we going to do to you? The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not...
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just...
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We'll let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Get sober, do your job, ask your questions, and get the hell out of Martinez.
This is where you say your bit.
He and his men carry themselves like giants. You'll need to prove your mettle to be
Detective.
Hey, dipshit. You hard of hearing or something? The boss man's talking to you.
Do not let their squeals disturb your serenity. These are but simple peasants, sire.
Oh, this is about him.
You sure took your time, huh? Waited for him to get real ripe and...
Oh, he was a real pretty boy. Hanging up there, letting out that pretty boy smell.
I can't for the life of me understand why you did it. I mean, I would have just left him up there. You must really love...
You might want to start asking your questions now.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talk.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Container belt, like we use in the harbor? Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him. We did this together, all of us, until he was dead.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
God damn.
No. These 7 honest men have equally come forth. They told you what happened so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the suzerain's reign,
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
the River Esperance Correctional Facility, a military prison run by the Coalition, dubbed Reunion by the inmates.
Rest assured, lawman, none worse than our guy. He got what was coming to him.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy boy without... Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
That's right, asshole. Titus Hardy runs the Hardy Boys. Ain't that so, fellas?
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
No, you did not get an answer. Titus does administrative work. He pushes paper, fills out forms. The others can't read. But on that night, they all acted. You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate.
Yeah! Who do you...
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for Wild Pines? The shipping company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what? Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out alive.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Kohoi and Semini written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hired merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm Oranese goddamn special forces, and I'm gonna fuck.
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. That was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls, grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah, this girl's on the mic, a beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake, the fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle, doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you.
Yeah, me and Eugene got around. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No, you're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
The lieutenant goes in for the leg sweep. Titus does not see.
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, capo.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clubbed him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first. Then see if it all adds up.
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
He may be lying, but he's good at it. No twitching, no rushing, no uncalled for details.
Right fucking here. Eugene already told you that the fuck had started coming to our bar.
Yeah, man. Weren't you listening?
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. This little rat-faced fellow is solid, too. Always fidgety, yes, but him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there.
No.
Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Минута перерыв.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
And fuck you too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Like what, Copper? Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss, while the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve. There's a knife in there. Some of the others reach for their belts. Their eyes are light.
Look, Coppers, I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us, and 2 of you.
That's an Easter 50, a Ziemsk-made monstrosity. It'll blow your head clean. Almighty God, even Dick Mullen only has a 45. The last thing you hear is a little murmur. Not a blast, not an echo. No one screams. It's more dead cops.
Over here. Let me hand detective.
Hurry.
That's right. So that's
It doesn't matter if you recognize.
She says no.
like I already what you want is What are we going? The Union. If anything, it is the RCM who do aggressive.
Just duck.
Listen.
Fuck you.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. No one is emotional here. Do your job. Ask your questions, then.
The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. It comes free with a six-pack of Vermilion Roy d'Or. The words Roy d'Or are stamped into the crown's plastic. The sentiment is called anti-centennial nostalgia, pining for a time before the turn of the century.
This is where you say your bit.
He and his men...
Detective.
Hey, Dip.
Do not let their squeals disturb your serenity. These are but simple peasants.
What, is he fucking kidding?
Hey, asshole, up here.
We're looking for Titus Hardy.
Oh.
You should.
Oh, he was a...
I can't.
You might want to.
Do a head count first, starting from the right. Once the world sitting across at the other table. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock quarter. They were incarcerated, and then standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads, in the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. Let's call this one size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and two front in the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks, probably carried the victim over. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them.
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy, and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. And you're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
The pretty boy.
Funny. But my
Container belt? Because we did.
There's a cat.
Goddamn.
No. These 7 honest men have equally come forth. They told you what happened so that you don't waste.
All 7 together.
How many people?
Shares
Or send them to Reunion to rot.
the River Esperance.
Rest assured, lawman. None worse than our guy.
Are you deaf? Do you think
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking
That's right.
think?
no? You did not get an answer. You don't have.
I know. Why not? Yep, my ear.
You don't.
I know, Lizzie. Relax.
Known him. Yeah.
Quiet.
by the
No. I mean the pine. Why don't you ask?
That's enough insinuation for today.
Why? 'Cause I am.
what kind of
The kind that
A live grenade.
I can't prove it. But I know.
Cause one night,
really?
yeah, really.
We could.
Sire, this is a serious violation of the karaoke.
Wrong. Here.
From rape, he regrets the mention.
To kill us all.
Yeah,
He grabs.
yeah. Show me your cunt. Why don't you show me your cunt?
Aren't you?
Yeah.
There's some. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned.
No.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling.
We hanged him up by.
Didn't they teach you?
The autopsy show.
The lieutenant goes.
Yeah. That's right.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first. Then, see, Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But Elaine, who looks like he might be this little him neither.
My fucking elbow.
He may be lying, but
Right fucking here.
Yeah, man. Wouldn't you listen?
No. Of course he's having.
Fuck off, Shanky.
keep your eye on this powerful guy.
And fuck.
This one is a stone wall.
Like what, Copper? Yeah, lawman.
It's almost
Not in the.
by your while the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve. There's a knife in there.
Wise move. You made the right.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez. Go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around. Thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating. Again.
Good one, Titus.
About fucking time. Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind.
Stop shitting your pants. You don't need to know, all right? The law handled it.
Yeah. Aren't you listening? It's.
For God's sake, stop shouting! Stop breaking things in my establishment! Stop provoking those oafs! They're not going to give you anything, can't you see? I can't have a police interrogation in here. People are trying to eat. Of course it concerns me if you make this...
Easy, babes. What is this? I can't have a slap fight in my bar. It's embarrassing.
We are deep, deep in forest territory. We need to cool off and re-engage later.
Everyone can see you picked some wrong options. Next time you have to come up with better things to say.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
I've got nothing to say to you. I am not.
You could be, Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a mod.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely.
I am not.
You could be, Liz.
Even a mod?
He's right.
So fucking what? Lots of models are actually really...
No, Glenn. They aren't.
This didn't change her opinion of... It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely. Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers. There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside. This Post Lavantorie mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffiti. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102, with a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant. box seems happy. Eat shit pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder. Then you swallow. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
A metallic drawer slides, the pull-out toolbox slides back into it.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Yes. The armor was produced by Fairweather in their facilities in Bétancourt sur la Clé in 42. It was part of a special order for Corps de Pharmacie, a security firm contracted to protect the interests of Oranese pharmaceutical companies in the Seminine conflict. So, it seems the armor went to Seminine. That's where the paper trail ends, though. Even the firm has proven difficult to track. Corps de Pharmacie has been renamed several times over in the years since the armor was issued. The most recently registered firm that the ICP has been able to connect to the CDP is a military contractor called Trinell, and the one before it was Downwell. I think they might be the same contractor.
A suit of armor like this would have been manufactured with a particular person's physique in mind. You should ask for whom this suit was fitted.
Hard to say. The client list is rather diverse and incomplete. The only constant seems to be that the mercenaries are always deployed in third and fourth world countries. Yes, but the ICP tends to be reluctant to share private sector records. I could try to talk them into it, though. Sure. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully I will have more information for you then. Just a second. Sylvie Malaika.
Yes. Hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, Detective? Uniform? I never saw you in any uniform. You had your things on. The disco things.
You hear the...
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Not yet. But I was able to convince the database people to share private sector information. They promised 57th.
In the cabin, you see... Right to work! Right to work!
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
enemy's descent has only worsened. I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called hardy boys...
You pick up on something artificial in his tone, like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. He is usually more himself.
The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the Union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company of my woman. Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant. Find out for yourself. Endomorphic blood.
Interesting.
The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer, slides shut smoothly. The file cabinet stands steady as ever. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled.
One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled. The drawer slides shut. The file cabinet the drawer slides. The already familiar cold touch of plastic. The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. Calling. Calling. Still calling.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lummy. How may I help you?
The voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man walking toward.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lummy. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos here. No. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? Let me fire up the machine. Dubois. Dubois. Here we are. You haven't rented anything in 5 years, but you still have a copy of Blue Ocean Hell from November 46. Whoa, not a fun film, that one. It's not an easy watch. After the death of his daughter and subsequent divorce, Ziemsk immigrant Egidius Wojcik tries to come to terms with the onset of dementia. No wonder no one's been missing it. Still, it would be great if you could return it to us. We're on the corner of Voyager and Maine.
The call is terminated by the other party. left with the discomforting sound.
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me. Oh man, that's great. Look at that guy go. Haven't seen anything. God man. Thanks for that.
He doesn't live in Martinez.
Is this about the questions again? A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She looks up from under her brow.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay?
Reality? You mean?
She is like a student,
I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15. Yeah, that's why I'm working my arse off in Frit. So I guess, like, that's economic. I don't know. What about it? We're in Frit? As mankind, or...
What will her
we're in a transition. You know, transitioning from monarchy to democracy. I don't know. Look at the clock. It's...
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands...
when ordinary people take over the government and demands yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. Cool.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No need to worry about knocking over a display.
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
Her attention is drawn to the raincoats. Stealing one undetected will now be more difficult.
Still here, stuck.
You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes the name Sileng is embroidered.
Happy shopping, officer! Everything's cool here. The goods are cool, the customers are cool. You're very cool. Bang, 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 bang!
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout brewing.
Don't shoot, officer! Have we got an arrest here or just a shakedown? Of course, I'll come quietly. But perhaps I could convince you to arrest some of my wares, officer. With your money, maybe? Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on. I'm an entrepreneur, officer. I've got sources, buyers, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, wholesalers. Good joke, officer. Here we don't have permits. Just
You glance around the decrepit buildings, the miserable weather, the sidewalks strewn with sunflower seeds and a dust-choked air.
It's beautiful. Beautiful freedom.
It is, yes. Anyone can set up their shop whenever they feel like it.
That's right. No permits, no bureaucracy. That's why this city and its law officials are so cool.
If you wanted to be cynical about it, you could say we are here to protect the interests of property holders. I am not, however.
My man, officer, you make all this possible. Without you, this climate would be extremely bad.
Gossamer is a fine, filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders, seen especially in autumn. It's safe to say he's referring to the near absence of regulations.
Yeah, that's the main thing about you. Freedom is great. It's what lets independent entrepreneurs like me sell quality goods at competitive prices. No need for discounts at ceilings, officer. Everything's already on sale.
But did he first mark them up 100%, just so that he could put them on sale?
My man, you know how the game is played. You and me, we should work together. What do you think? Shake things up? Anything for you. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook? No hassle?
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
It is! Practically free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why not some macaroni too? No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers. And
Wait. Humanex. Humanitarian aid.
What?
A convincing performance. Bravo.
Look, officer. I'm just a retailer. You'd have to talk to my supplier if you got questions about the supply chain. That's how the...
Interesting.
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all...
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism, but the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left. If you say so, officer. I don't worry too much about politics. I'm an entrepreneur, you know. Whatever's good for business, is good for me. Me?
This man probably comes from
Very sharp, officer. I'm Serais from the Sigai province of the...
Apricot suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Sigai archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
The apricot suzerainty is what the Sigai archipelago is commonly known as in Revachol. It's a bit of a fraught term, I'm sure.
No, apricots come from... Speaking of, why not support an independent local entrepreneur?
No need to dress this one up. Just tell him what you want.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? Ah, yes. Money is very important.
Are you trying to ask for a bribe? If so, you're not doing a very good job.
Sorry, detective.
Aces high. For the rest of the world, the Aces High is just a cool Revachol thing, politically neutral. In Revachol, it still holds revolutionary connotations. Also, have you looked at Lieutenant Kitsuragi's clothes? He wears a bomber jacket, just like the ones worn by aerostatic brigades, and those cargo pants could store...
Everything's still cool here, officer.
There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have...
It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Seraise plastic. The kind of plastic, those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. UV resistant. These were... The shine on these sunglasses lasts...
No luck.
Oh! That visor is...
Hey, at least it might actually offer some protection against the sun. Not like those cheap plastic shades.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem.
There are clothes in...
Don't be shy.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Haven't you heard, officer?
We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children? Too bad, officer. Kids make it all worthwhile. Without kids, who's going to be around to enjoy the economy? Don't let me stop you. Open the box and browse a little.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look firsthand. Why?
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it's
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
You find your hand. The box.
Economical, but also...
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra.
I can see you've a taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway. A jet black upper.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super Air.
Only that found ultra. Where these once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found. A small heat emboss on the veneer reads, Solidarity Aid from the People's Republic of Samara. The speakers themselves.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here. These, officer? These speakers are Samaran garbage. I'm ashamed to even use them.
Samaran trash. That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
No way, officer! These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk. Well, if you want them, but see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe...
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first. A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the... The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The salmon and butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently. Within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linéaire G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on the Caprice 40 is a very popular model with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linéaire G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your...
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely, from what I can tell. Oh. I suppose that narrows it down somewhat. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder? If we must. Yes? Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Yes, but containers contain things, shiny things. They're interesting.
I don't know. Containers contain, I guess. I'm making assumptions. What do you want to know? Ah, yes. The case brief you missed. Now 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief 3 days ago, during that... Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. There was some interest in this case at my station, but not for the reasons you have in mind. You seem to wish there was a... Yes, it just so happens there's a beautiful blonde 19-year-old woman at the heart of this case. A rich one, in fact, part of a murder sex cult.
The weary tone is the surest indicator that the lieutenant is being sarcastic.
No, not really. Was there...
It can still be an otherworldly sex mystery in your head, with a dark twist even. He's basically challenging you to sex it up with some lurid twist. Don't get right into it. Sit on it a bit, then hit him with it.
I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. That's good. Better still than an imbecile cop-off. It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are 2 columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills.
Yes, I'm an unrepentant spoilsport.
The rows are endless. Jean Vicmer, Judith Minot, a special consultant. What was his name? Then the rows degrade into green.
Well, technically. The official record keeper has been known to double-count murder suite.
A common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats.
I'm good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
It's all part of the master plan, you see.
Really? It can't be that. Wouldn't that be something? And who could say it's not true? If you really don't remember anything, how would you know? We should move. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Because you're the best qualified? No, that doesn't seem right. If you're so well qualified, why can't you remember why you were sent? Anyway, don't keep the lieutenant waiting.
Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of... That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. What? These? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think it's...
It's no mere brain.
Okay. And something happened in that brain? I do not have a thing with revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Good. That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's
I can see you're disappointed. You are right to be. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents. I've never been to Seoul.
A point of pride to him.
No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is... It's like you're locked down.
Something the matter, detective?
What's going on? It's like you're a puppet in his hands. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
What do you mean? I have no idea what...
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my...
The lieutenant produces his familiar mnemotechnique A6 and idly thumbs through. We all have our different medium.
Good. Let's change the subject.
No response. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal...
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your...
Not a fan. It's just the nature of Lieutenant...
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the Decomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers. That means the average lieutenant...
Try work, the case at hand. It can work miracles. Really? You look fine to me. This psychodrama is unbecoming.
Clearly, he prefers to think you're malingering. He cannot fathom that anyone could drink so much as to retroactively erase their entire life.
Then you should consider seeking medical attention. You can use the radio in my kinema to call your station's Lazareth. Was there anything else you wanted?
The crumpled Samaran butter billboards. The lieutenant looks on. A rusting control panel. This panel, you pull the lead. Nothing happens. A spring brings... Wasn't there a sign? You pull the lead. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the... A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across the... Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. I just don't like it very much. Movement on the road never really gelled well with the movement of my... Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind...
That sure narrows down our list of suspects.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I didn't really know what to make of it, but I know it meant something.
Life doesn't need to be a struggle. I'll be with you in a moment, officer. Let me just finish my sandwich. Talk to Angry Hard René first.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions. That's the spirit. Don't even waste your breath asking about the game. They wouldn't know anyway. They're way past their prime. This felt...
Mon Dieu! Good job, officer. That was an excellent throw.
Your muscle memory knew what to do and went for it, but there were gaps. It felt like you were going for a thrust or a lunge. There was definitely gonna be jumping. Maybe you scored a point, but this is a fiasco.
What are you talking about? You just executed a pretty much perfect pétanque throw.
How are you ever going to get the officer's shit off your nose, Gaston? Or even climb out of his ass? Right. Was the demonstration it? Or do you still need something from us?
Yes, officer. What do we need from this gentleman?
Yes. The Debardeurs union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight. Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man who would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man's man.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee. No one. The bus has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last month.
Yes. It's not actually an issue.
Look, officers. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Can we conclude the topic of my guard booth now? She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes. Like I said, I would be up anyway. Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement. But this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the union is the law. Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. No man can afford to turn his eyes to the horizon if his rear isn't secured. If the women folk take care of that, then men can tackle the bigger issues.
The RCM doesn't discriminate. Women are held to the same standards as men, and as reflected in the quarterly statistics, are equally effective in their jobs. Unlike men, they also have to deal with the very same mentality you two are displaying right now. If it weren't for this, they would outperform us.
I'm glad at least some people keep a level head in these turbulent times. Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. Yes, it was left by heavy artillery fire. Why what? Because that's what happens when communists hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose the name to feel special. Senseless sentimentality. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiant, should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't so, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
This place is a damn beachhead, son. They had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players of the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
Preposterous! Surely you don't mean it. I'm just sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those commie hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking my piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was... Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the... This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the Fifth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire. Ah, yes! King Philip III on his steed.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. A nation is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The Carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve.
Right.
All you observe is a veteran refusing to let go of the past and his old uniform.
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabiniers in service of Frissel I, Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V before him.
Don't you mean Frissel the Fan?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown, ours to ridicule.
There's something you missed. You will get to it, don't worry. Son, you've really let yourself go. It's a disgrace. But Coat Physical Instrument is going to get you back in prime condition, even if it takes 1,000,000 push-ups. Does a master swordsman insult his own blade? No. I'm going to turn you into an athletic benchmark. It's going to take blood, sweat, piss, and tears. But when I'm done with you, boy, you will be a master athlete. When a man sets his mind and body on something and gives his 110%, he is sometimes going to piss himself. It just happens. Behold, world. Here walks a sportsman, hands choked and hair kept back with a... This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to...
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back. Logic error. She's...
Pigs come to take me out! Trying to snuff me out! Then why are you sneaking up on me like that? It's not a good idea to scare me. Trying to sneak...
There must be another way into the building.
I can't get involved in this. So much for a quiet smoke.
Yes?
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. You knock silently. The upholstery muffles the sound.
I guess no one is in?
The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You don't hear. In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you.
Let's be honest. This isn't what I joined the RCM for, but every day tells you something new about yourself. Apparently, working with the local union boss to get info on an investigation is not something I'm squeamish about. I mind that the local thug is using the RCM for his busy work. But if this gets us to the bottom of this hanging, then I'm willing to look over it. On the other hand, we could just leave and tell Evrat we opened the door. No one seems to be tailing us to see if we actually did it. Yes, presenting a fabrication is known to get results here and there. You took this task. You make the call.
The door is right here. You can just open it and be done with this.
Ладно, на сегодня все. Смотрели, ставьте лайк. Комментарий, нажмите на колокольчик, чтобы не пропустить новые видео. До новых встреч. Пока-пока.